Hello everyone, hola a todos. A continuación tenemos el honor de contar con la presencia de 4 mujeres que están aportando a la industria alimentaria con una mirada enfocada en la diversidad, la resiliencia y la empatía. I'm excited to present the next panel that will be held by 4 women that are currently adding high value to the food industry. Their approach has a lens on diversity, resilience, and empathy. I would like to welcome to Linda Carobbi. She works at Savino del Bene, an international agency of transport and logistics, as corporate director of the fresh fruit vertical market. She's co-founder, EU president, and member of the board of directors of Global Women Fresh, Italian association. And she deeply loves the fresh product sector and has a wide view on global logistic issues from both ocean and air. Welcome, Linda.
Hola a todos. Good afternoon to everybody.
We also will count with Jill Meyers, founder and CEO of Women in Olive Oil organization. Jill is a sommelier and ambassador of olive oil, as well as an importer distributor of high quality Evo, which she will need to tell us more about. Lately, she founded Slow Food Piedmont 2020 and is a liaison at the national board. Welcome, Jill.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
Great. So we're going to start the session being us. In order to start the conversation, I would like to start with a reflection of the UN and McKinsey data. Now, currently, when we can say that women's jobs are 1.8 times more vulnerable to this crisis than men's jobs. Women make up to 39% of global employment, but account for 54% of overall job losses. One reason for this greater effect on women is that the virus is significantly increasing the burden of unpaid care, which is disappointingly carried by women. This, among other factors, means that women's employment is dropping faster than average, even accounting for the fact that women and men work in different sectors. Given this data from your experience, how has this affected the food sector and other particularities, and how can we encounter these effects?
I will start. Jill start. I will start. Okay.
You can start, Linda. Yes.
Okay. Perfect. So, thank you, Nicole, and thank you to all the Food Design Festival for inviting me here. It's really a pleasure for me. Just a quick introduction, just to better understand why I am here. As Nicole said, apart from working in an international freight forwarder with a special focus on the fresh fruit and vegetable business, I am also one of the co-founders of the Italian Women Association in Fresh Produce, which was born at the end of 2017. We were 30 women at that time. Now we are more than 100. And then, thanks to this, I am also part of the board of directors and the president in Europe of Global Women Fresh. Both female organizations are no-profit organizations, so pro bono organization, and the aim is to have the women voices be more heard, be more known, especially in the fresh fruit, in the fresh produce business. We have to say that in the fresh produce business, in the agriculture, generally speaking, women are a very consistent part of the workers, of the people employed in that business. And as Nicole said, unfortunately, the COVID, of course, impacted much more on women rather than men. But this is there are simple reasons why this happened. I mean, women not only have to work and to maintain their work, their job, but usually they are also asked to look after the family, or to look after the children, looking after the house, and then going to the supermarket or whatever to make all the, to buy all the day-by-day stuffs. So yes, the COVID impacted. As far as we are concerned, both in Italian Women Association and Global Women Fresh, we tried as much as we could to give support to the women that somehow suffered from this situation. For example, I'm very proud to say that with Global Women Fresh, we are in cooperation since a couple of years with United Nations and their specific department, She Trades, which is the department that supports the African women entrepreneur in the business, in the fresh produce business. So we held during the 2021 and the 2020, we held a series of webinars pro bono, so totally in collaboration with UN, where we try to stay closer to these African ladies that were somehow, frustrated about this COVID, because of course we have to imagine that in Africa, they do not have our same instruments, our same tools, or our same knowledge to navigate in these very uncertain times. So we held these webinars with different topics, from international supply chain to marketing strategy, food safety, finance, and whatever. And it was so huge, the satisfaction that we had, because we were able to empower other women. So we simply try to share our knowledge, our know-how, our competencies in certain sectors, in certain issues, and these allowed us to empower other women. So as I used to say, I felt empowered because I empowered other women, and many of them really were so happy about this activity from our side. And we also helped them to create new business and to carry on new business, so to find out new business opportunities. So I really think that yes, women were impacted much more than men from COVID. But if women want, especially in the fresh produce, but in agriculture generally speaking, if we make a team, so if we are towards a team building, and of course, not only with women, but also our cooperation with men is essential, is basic, is fundamental. We cannot think about of a world with only women in agriculture and vice versa. So it is important to understand and to realize that women's role in the agricultural business is important, because there are, again, a lot of women are in this sector, and if we go hand in hand with men, the society itself and the company where women and men can work together can definitely reach better results. So this is very important, and I think that the COVID showed even more this need, this topic issue that we have to carry on to move forward towards this direction. Also, once the pandemic will be over, hopefully soon. But for the time being, we don't know when. So this is my opinion.
Absolutely. I think it's really interesting how you explain it, that each of us, we need each other, and it's a fact of coexistence and collaboration at the end. So let's make okay, what do you think about this, Jill? Would you like to add something?
Well, I love what Linda said, and what we're doing here with Women in Olive Oil is similar. Just we're focusing on the common link of olive oil, bringing women together globally. And during the pandemic, it became a real obvious moment for all of us around the world to be in the same boat. So around, I guess it was around the last day of April of 2020, a few women and I were talking, and we felt there was a common issue, and that was whether you were an importer, a producer, and an expert taster, an exporter, producer, whatever you were doing in olive oil. We were all in the same boat. So I founded a group on Facebook that started with I invited about 160 women, and let them also invite women who were in the industry. And in a few weeks, we quickly grew to about 800 women, 1,000 women, and now we're at about 2,500, little less, women from about close to 50 countries. So what we've done is we've created a platform and a network for women to work together for positive change in the industry. And using that link, we can, really work in all aspects, from, gender equality, having women, in policy, and, with authentic transparency and labeling, whether it's sustainability, which is one of our first biggest focuses. But our main purpose is to educate using olive oil. I believe women work well together. I've seen it. I know we can collaborate together, and we are able to do that, with the help of men, which is great. So we just started our first webinar series, and that is focused on sustainability from the ground, from the fork to the from the ground to the fork, from the tree, and it's been really positive. I think a lot of women are meeting, getting to know each other in small communities and with an international reach, and we plan to support them. So we are a brand new organization, but we are working together. Our executive committee consists of about 11 women from 4 continents, and with that, very diverse team, we're able to look at problems in a different way, and it's been really wonderful. I think it's impacted a lot of women positively, and we have a lot of plans and a lot of work to do, but it's going really well.
I'm sure it's a long path. It sounds amazing. Actually, it's incredible that you mixed also the diversity between all these 4 continents, and with as many people. At the end, we're empowering one to each other, and that's a beautiful fact. As Linda was saying, we're all in the same boat. So just let me do a very quick pause to present and introduce you the new member of this panel, that is Sara Roversi. Hello, Sara.
Hi, everyone.
Sara is the founder of Future Food Institute. Sara is an experienced entrepreneur and leader in the food ecosystem. As a seasoned growth expert, she works with globally recognized high-profile think tanks on setting the agenda of the sustainable food industry. Nice to see you here. We were just debating about the gender differences. And actually, this is a great moment that you came, because we can link it to another data that is that using a gender parity score, or GPS, calculated using these indicators, MGI has established a strong link between gender equality in society and gender equality in work, and shown that the latter is not achievable without the former. You find this to be true for the food sector? And if you do, how you envision it? Maybe Sara, that you just came, wants to answer.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this question, because let's say in these 8 years, while we were designing and really shaping this global ecosystem, we had the chance to test and prototype in different communities, many different solutions. And we strongly believe that, let's say, the role of women within communities plays always a very critical role. Plays a critical role because, anyway, when we're talking about food, we're talking about life. We're talking about nourishment. We're talking about socialization. We're talking about rituals, family. And so whatever is the family, we strongly believe that the role of women is pretty interesting, because women are able to shape the society while taking care about their own community. We've been, say, practicing and seeing many different examples from food incubators that were just focused on women, just because they saw through data, through numbers, that empowering women, they were empowering even more men, because women were taking care of the health of the entire community. And so it's pretty interesting, because what you say is a way to analyze through data also the impact of strategies that has been designed within communities to build thriving communities. And so I think that we see that now women are playing more and more a very critical role, but also I see that men are finding the way to cooperate in a fruitful way with women. Because what we have been seeing in the past years is that there was some kind of scare from men, because women sometimes were a bit overwhelming. But now we are finding the balance, finding the way like a dance to dance together and design together what we have to create for, let's say, a better community, a better society. So this is what we are seeing in many different parts of the world. Every year we train tons of, say, hundreds of climate shapers and food shapers. We run boot camps together with FAO, the Food and Agriculture Organization of the UN. And we had the chance to work with local communities because we have students really coming from all over the world. More than 50 countries are involved. And working with local communities, you can, of course, see how different cultures are reacting. And we see that this is a very light trend happening almost everywhere.
Absolutely. Yes. And compared with the aggregate share of women in global employment, we were saying that 39% of women have 54% of global jobs in accommodations and food service, which are among the sectors worst affected in the crisis. So I would like to ask you, what have you noticed, or what has been the major problem or obstacle in the sector affecting women?
Let's say probably cultural barriers, and it depends country by country, because if you think about India, for example, we have been doing a huge project focused on women and digitalization in agriculture. And of course, you see that there are communities in which the role of women is still pretty tricky, because they still have many cultural and social battles to achieve. So there are countries in which the role of women is more advanced. There are countries in which women still have issues on being bankable. And so, of course, if you need to empower them, you need also to give them the independence, and say, let them feel free, meaning also being free to earn money, to open a bank account, and to lead a business. When we talk about food, we talk about a sector in which there's still a lot of labor cost in developing countries represented by women. And so the big work that we're doing is really to see also how new technologies can become a way to empower also the unbankable, to empower also the one that were under the radar until yesterday. If you think about blockchain, if you think about many different cryptocurrencies or other technologies that now are available on the market, I strongly believe that in the next years, we're going to see a huge revolution. And of course, we're talking now about women, but say is a similar example that I could do if we're going to talk about refugees in Europe, because we see that the challenges we're facing are pretty much the same in some different countries. So it's pretty interesting because technologies are going to democratize a lot also this kind of needs, and the level of access is going to be much broader, and is going to be much more open. And empowering them, giving them the freedom, of course, this is going to be a huge accelerator. And everyone is going to benefit for that, because not empowering women is a loss for everyone. And there's a professor in our ecosystem that always tells us that not empowering women is like having an airplane that generally has two engines with just an engine going. So if you have the one that is breaking, everything is going to fall down. If we have an airplane with two engines, there's no reason not to use both of them. And we strongly believe that women can be the one taking care of the entire society and the entire community, because there's this concept of life that is strictly connected with our being.
Exactly. I love this example, this comparison. And actually, when you were saying about cultures, I was thinking about what Linda explained us of how she and her community was empowering people in Africa, right? Could you develop it further? How was your vision on that, Linda?
I was listening to Sara in a very, I was very interested to what Sara was saying, because I totally agree with her. And actually, also as a Global Women Fresh, we also have a project in trying to help, for example, and within the others, just to mention a few, ladies in India. Because one of our members of the board of directors, Nina Patil, is the director of fresh grapes in India, who is a farm, a company that produces grapes in India, and where the majority, or I would say the 100% of the workers are women, that thanks to this opportunity of working in this company, have, as Sara said, have the opportunity to become a little bit more independent, to open, for example, a bank account, which it seems incredible, I know, but it is true. In India, the majority of women do not have a bank account. So thanks to this initiative of Nina Patil and our entire Global Women Fresh board of directors, we were able to microfinance a part of this project in India, helping women to open their bank account and become a little bit more independent. You also have to consider that in India, the women that works in agriculture unfortunately very often suffered from sexual harassment. So again, this is another very bad issue that we are trying, thanks to Nina, thanks to our Indian member, to somehow to improve, to solve a little bit. So I definitely, because again, as Sara said, women have inside the culture of a society and taking care of the society. So if we empower women, especially in a sector like agriculture that gives us the food, so gives us life. So if we empower women in this business, in this sector, of course, the entire society will benefit from this. So we have to, as I used to say, we have to change our chip. The society and the companies have to change the chip, and trying to understand that it is important to allow women to become more independent, to be more heard as far as the decision, the day-by-day life of the society and the company, because the entire world will benefit from this. And I think that we are starting slowly to see some improvement, some changes from this viewpoint. Of course, it depends on which country we are talking about. India is an issue. The United States is totally different. North Europe is completely different from South Europe. So we always have to also understand the context, the reality in which we are talking about.
Completely. And Jill, also you were mentioning that you were spread over 4 continents. How were you navigating this change of cultural factor in the female industries?
Right. So, we do have, a lot of women in California, and we have a lot of women in the Middle East, which is a very diverse difference. But with that, I think we're able to have conversations, and someone here in the States may be able to help someone in another country. And that's how we're networking, how we're bringing, women together to help, with labeling, to help with shipping, to help with, we have a network that's broad enough so that we can help women all over the world with different experiences. But it's that cultural difference is what we want. It's what we want to bring together and bring women from all the different councils together to have conversations, and how can we work together. And women, I think we're not afraid to tap into that synergy and that a natural instinct of us to want to help and want to grow and want to help with heritage and culture and nutrition, and I believe that's what we're doing. It's been wonderful. Yeah.
It seems so, yeah, I'm sure.
If I may add, Nicole, can I add one thing? Yes,
sure.
I would like to share again within the two organizations, the two female organizations, the Italian Association and Global Women Fresh that I am part of. We are trying to make really a team. So I have to say that women sometimes in Italy, at least, everybody thinks that women are not capable, are not able to make team, okay, to play together. This is not true. I have to say that within these two organizations that I am part of, we are demonstrate that this is the reality is completely opposite, because we are really helping each other very much. We are trying to support each other. Once one of us has any question or any doubt, or simply needs a nice word, because maybe it's a particular bad period, and I mean, COVID is definitely a long bad period for everyone. We are really trying to support each other. Now, in a couple of months, at the end of September, with the Italian Association, we will have our third annual reunion. So, okay, our third annual meeting. We will be in the south of Italy, close to Bari, where there is also a very nice, let's say, party, a very nice fiesta for grapes, because Italy, Puglia, Bari is an area for grapes. So we will be there analyzing the results that we had in these almost 2 years of pandemic, and drawing our next goals for next year. So again, we have to demonstrate, women, we all have to demonstrate that we are capable, we are able to make team, and above all, if we want something, we just have, to take our hand and take it. So women can do everything, of course, in a society that recognizes the role and the importance of the role of women in a society itself. Sorry if I had this, but I think it was important to say.
I also think so. Thank you. Another factor could be COVID, disproportionate impact on female entrepreneurs, including women-owned microenterprises that you were mentioning before in developing countries, where such enterprises account for a high share of female labor force participation. The crisis may have made some family resources scarce, such as financial capital to invest in business or digital devices that families must now share as children's schooling has gone online. So in your particular experience, how has this affected to you, and how have you solved these obstacles in your professional and personal life?
Who do you want to reply? Jill, Jill or Sara, do you want to start? As you prefer.
Yes, maybe Sara? Do you want to go first? Good. You need to open your mic. Yes. Or otherwise, Jill can start. Okay, maybe Jill can start. I think we have some technical problems. And
so talking about COVID and the impact on the industry is what financially, I can talk a little bit about that, just being a importer and distributor. And as far as women in olive oil goes, we are still young, and we have a lot of plans and plans for this type of issue, whether it's through working with different universities and grants. And but one thing is, for a lot of us, stores closed all over the world, and imports went up a lot. It's much more expensive for shipping. So that is one huge, collective issue that, as women we have, and, getting, producers getting help is hard, and everything's been, kind of turned on its head, but it also gives us a great opportunity to think together, to talk together, and to work together, and try to navigate this issue. And it gives us a really, really special moment to do that. It's, it's unfortunate that it's come to this, but it's definitely given us a chance to pivot and, work together and kind of brainstorm together these issues. And that's what's happening. So.
Beautiful. Yes, it's a privileged time. Maybe Linda, do you want to share with us your experience?
Well, what Jill said is perfectly right, because it's true. The pandemic also impacted from the financial and economic viewpoint. I work in the international logistics, so every day I deal with a total chaos, worldwide speaking, because I am in the logistics since 20 years, and I never saw a year like the 2021 as far as the international shipping. So the prices are skyrocketed, and there is a short availability of reefers containers or airplanes to go from country A to country B. So of course this is impacting also financially the world. And as Jill said, also for the fresh produce business, for the fresh fruit and vegetable, this is impacting, because I mean, fresh fruit is a low value product. So we don't have a container of apples or kiwis. Of course, it does not have the same value, for example, of vaccines, which are nowadays so important. But you know that when an ocean freight increases of 400% compared to the previous year, it's quite complicated somehow for a producer to forecast the usual ocean export business or air business. So it somehow is frustrating, and so we are here to support them. And of course, women. I know a lot of women working in the shipping industry, and we are trying again to understand how to navigate this very particular period. But we will succeed. No worries. We just have to be resilient and resistant. So let's move forward. But it's complicated. It's a very complicated period.
Yes. It seems to be complex, but yes, we will overcome. So
absolutely.
I'm missing to hear if Sara, you can hear us now.
Yeah.
Maybe you can share with us your point of view, how you experience this transition.
Let's say for us has been quite interesting, because the pandemic has been making the invisible visible. So all the topics we were connected before and we were advocating for before the pandemic were not known by the broader community, by the broader audience. And so suddenly when the pandemic started, we started reading on the first pages of the newspaper about the huge losses within the farming side, all the huge issues related to food security in cities. Because, for example, now we have the poorest families all over the world that are supporting also the health of their kids thanks to school meal plans. But anyway, even if they're not tasty and delicious, are providing kids sometimes the only complete meal they have access to in a day. And so the level of food insecurity was raising crazily. Talking with the Red Cross, we have numbers that are really unbelievable. So for sure, this thing of the pandemic has been highlighting very clearly which are the big pain point within the food system. And we also started creating many different surveys, identifying which are also the positive side of that. Because staying at home, people started being much more aware about their consumption, how much they were wasting, understanding that they were wasting a lot. And so they started to learn how to preserve food. Many of them started to help their brothers, their local society, their local community, preparing food for others. So I think that this transition was anyway an opportunity to educate the society. We were understanding that food is a way to take care, and our food choices and food services need to be reframed as food care. We are not talking anymore about food services. We're talking just about food care, because food is a way to take care. Your food decisions are impacting on the chain from farm to fork. If you're choosing a specific product, you are supporting a specific food chain. If you're cooking for someone, you're taking care of them, cooking something that is good, cooking something that is nourishing. And if you're choosing specific produce, local produce, for example, you are taking care of your local community. So really, we started not only creating a narrative, but letting people understand through very tangible things about all of those issues that are stuff that are super close to our daily life. And so the transition, I think, was a bit positive on that side, because people started being much more aware.
Completely. Yes, it's very important what you said about the cultures of care, something that it has been resonating all the time in the conversation. And it has a lot to see with design, actually, because we are here talking about food design and how are we creating those frameworks that are larger than just a kiwi, as Linda was saying, or a problem that happens in just one country, but we need to understand the entire ecosystem to make it, to apply it. So here comes the last questions that I would like you to discuss about, that it's how is design a part of your work and what role does it play? In what way is design important in the food industry that you are expert on? Maybe
It's
Jill, do you want to start?
Okay.
You can also go. Jill, do you want to start?
I can. And that's a very interesting question. And I'm thinking of it in two ways. And I'm thinking of, for one, we want, labels and truth and authentic and transparent labels, but also in olive oil, we want to, be transparent and helping in policy. But also I want to think about for us and women in olive oil and our team who's thinking about this as a bigger picture and how we're working together globally and how we can help globally. We're looking at it as a system. And, whether that's part of design, I think it will be for us, is a system where we are really getting into a whole global movement and getting women educating, getting women, in their homes, chefs, retailers, producers, that if you can picture a whole globe, and women all over the globe in these small villages and connecting each other and having an impact at a global level, that part we will be able to make a difference in the consumption of olive oil globally. We also want a lot of education in labels and, packaging and the design of that as well, and helping with transparency and being a part of that conversation. So design, that's our focus. That's our goal, is education, and being a kind of a grassroots, boots on the ground type movement. And I believe that's what we are doing, is helping each other in every aspect and every facet and part of the industry. So we can have a voice, so we can be a part of the conversations, be a part of change, and for the positive, impact of the industry. And we're very grateful to have men who love the industry and want to see it grow and do better and be part of the food chain. We believe it's foundational in the food industry that olive oil is such a connection for cultural change and heritage and, nutrition and gastronomic, it's one of the best things you can have in your kitchen. But being a part of that and having a voice, and all voices at the table as women, that's our focus. That's where we're working. And we've got a lot to do, but we are moving slowly, like a global movement. And anyway, we're really excited. I don't know if that's how I picture how we're working in the future of food as women in olive oil. And thank you.
Thanks to you. Thank you. Yes, it's impressive what you're doing. Sara, do you want to take it from here?
Yeah. Thank you, Gilles. I absolutely agree with you. And let's say the role of design for us has been always a pillar as well. The co-founder of our Future Food Institute, Matteo Vignoli, is the guy who brought at the beginning the design perspective in our group, teaching design thinking, working in Stanford for many years, and so on. But also now we have Sonia Massari, who's the director of our academy, the Future Food Academy, and all the programs that we have been developing in the last 8 years are absolutely rooted on that. We train food systems designer. We don't train just guys that are working in innovation in food. Because if you don't have this approach, you cannot really achieve the goals, because you need to teach them to have the systemic thinking, the perspective, understanding really the interconnection between all of our actions and issues. Then, when the Sustainable Development Goals were announced in 2015, we started working with the FAO, understanding that design was absolutely critical, but we had to move forward the concept of design that is human-centered to evolve this concept into something that is human plus nature-centered. And so we developed our prosperity thinking approach with the human-nature design approach. So this is something that is really core part of all the things we do, even if we're talking about community and say regeneration of local rural areas and so on, even if we're talking about developing new foods, new systems, new processes, and so on. So design is crucial, and I think you should teach design in every school at every level, because design is needed to understand the interconnection about our missions and our actions and the impact we are making.
Now, I'm saying that it is, and actually I'm glad that you both are pointing out education as a pillar for change, or a pillar for fostering design in a larger scale than just one product, but the system all around this product. So I would like to finish asking to Linda, what's your take on this?
Yes, thanks for the question, which is extremely interesting and very updated with the period that we are living. Yes, food design is a concept that I love, and I think that it's a very wide concept that goes from the act of eating to going to packaging, processing the food, creating new type of food, etc., etc. And education is basic. So I would like to close this session saying that education is an important pillar also for Italian Women Association and for Global Women Fresh. So last week we had, as the Italian Women Association, we had an event in a very nice location in the northeast of Italy, where we were in close to a beach where there were a lot of guests, and we had this show cooking. So we demonstrated, thanks to a chef of the location, we demonstrated how fresh fruit is not only very beautiful to be seen, but it is also fantastic to eat in, because of course it's very good, but it's also easy to be part of recipes which are not complicated to replicate at home. So we had this event, which was educate people, so the guests that were in this location, to use to cook fresh fruit and vegetable in a more innovative way, in a more disruptive way. So education is basic, is the base of the food design and the future of it.
It's nice that you're always saying that you mean near the beach. Next trip, we want to be invited.
Everybody's invited there. We wait for you.
Great, great. So I think that it's time to close this session. I would like to keep on talking. There's lots to debate on this, and it's fascinating what you girls are doing. It's impressive. I would like to thank you for sharing your experience with us, for opening your vision and your perspective on this. And finally, I would like to thank the organization and thank to all the participants that has been here. I think that if you would like to add something else, it's now or never.
I would like just to thank you and all the entire Food Design Festival for inviting me here. And please, everybody needs to be more, let's move forward to a more sustainable future where food and design for food is very important. So never forget about this. Thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you, everyone. Thank you again for the invitation to speak, and on behalf of Women in Olive Oil. And we look forward to talking more in the future. It's been a pleasure working with everyone on the panel over the last month and having our little conversations leading up. So Thank you again. Thank you.
And thank you so much. And follow the United Nations Food System Summit, the pre-summit that is happening in these days in Rome. And there's a lot we need to achieve working together. So I invite you all to support the global movement.
For sure. Actually, it starts today, right?
Exactly.
So until the 28th. Keep tuned, and let's keep spreading care through food. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.